Right. So, but thinking about what you're selling or representing or serving the planet with is having that same level of passion where you just don't, there's no hesitancy. Does that make sense? So it's being, again, we're in a mindset. We're going to transition to skill. But mindset is that you have this awareness about what you bring forward. There's great value in that. What do you sell?
I was actually, and I don't mean to do conflict, but I work in the industry of healing naturally with herbs, and I know how you can heal cancer. FDA hopefully doesn't listen to this, but you really don't get out there because sometimes people don't want to do what they need to do to change their life to get rid of that disease.
Right. But and what do you sell right now? Are you still an herbalist or a nutritionist?
I'm a master herbalist. I sell herbs, but I also educate. Trying to keep those two separate.
So, Doreen, I want to pause you real quick. You said people don't want to do what it takes, right?
They don't.
So who's they, right? Are there some people that would want to do whatever it takes?
There are.
What do you guys think? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Are the people that don't want to do what it takes, are they part of your target market at all?
No.
No, right? And so who cares about them?
Right.
Right? And you care about the people that are willing to
make those changes in their lives to eliminate that from their body.
Yeah. I mean, are you totally confident in what you do?
Yes.
Yeah. So why do you have hesitancy sharing it with other people? What gets in your way?
Sometimes, and it's probably this whole thing because I've done this for years without getting paid. And so they don't invest in that. And so when you tell them to do things like when you talk with them about what to do to help it, if they haven't invested in anything, they stop doing it, even though they're healing. And that's what's really frustrating to me is I've watched people that have MS and things that they were healing and then stopped doing it because they weren't investing anything in it. That was really hard.
So what could you have done to serve them at a higher level? Could have asked them to do what?
I could have asked them to pay, but at the same point, this particular situation, they liked where they were at.
Okay, yeah.
They wanted to stay in the same situation they were at.
But you can't control.
No.
But your role is partly owning the space that, that you can help people heal major issues in their life naturally.
Yes.
I'd pay a lot of money for that. But guess what? I want to buy from a confident person.
Right.
So part of that is you owning that space and choosing which you're here. So the great news is this is about progress, not perfection. And that I assume where you're at today is better than a year ago, and where you're going to be in 90 days, let alone a year, is going to be different too.
Yes, it will be.
But it's owning that space, right? That it's like you bring so much value to other people. Now sometimes we have to, we have to claim that space for ourselves first, not wait for. Sometimes here's the thing in life: we're waiting for someone else to come along and validate that it's okay to charge money or to charge that much money. Right. Like someone needs to give us all these kudos to say, oh, you're ready to do this. And I really rarely find that happens. Instead of you making a decision, like same conversation to you, is make a decision.
Right.
What's your choice? Is that I help and I serve people that, I help them heal their body, and I love that I'm paid handsomely for it. But it's that value and so forth. And sometimes healers, this is a struggle. Because, again, it's like, is it really, again, it's really what's at play is a belief system. Is it really okay for me to make money through my gift?
That's true.
So what's your decision?
My decision is to make money doing this.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay. We'll help you figure out the how. But I can only truly, is that you've come to a point where you've said, decision. I can help, and I can sometimes help, get you to the point, make a decision, like I'm pushing you to do right now. But once you've made a decision, the how will start to become clear.
It has, actually, over the last little while. I'm sure Gerald's seen. I've made the decision.
Good.
I'm totally made the decision. I've actually made the decision to where I haven't talked with some people about things just because I haven't figured out exactly how much to charge and stuff, and so I'm not going to continue to put myself in that situation where I'm helping people without them investing in it.
So how much are you an hour?
That is where I don't know yet, and that's why I was...
Okay, give me a number just decide. You can change it, but this is for all of you.
$35.
How many of you can relate to what she's talking about?
45?
Huh? 45. What did you say?
I said 35. He's saying 45.
I'm going to give you a raise right on the spot.
Okay.
At minimum, I would say probably 75.
Okay.
But if that's too outside your comfort zone, which I respect, start at 50.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do 50.
Okay, so how much are you an hour?
I'm $50 an hour.
Awesome.
With the 1 hour minimum. Okay.
15 minutes not paid. They have to use 1 hour minimum. They pay $50 and you up to an hour. And then $50 again.
Okay.
This is really powerful. And the fastest
is
way
very
for you to
helpful.
increase your revenue is to give yourself a raise. Right? When I was a graphic designer, freelance illustrator, I started off as $25 an hour. That was huge for me going out of school. $25, I couldn't believe it, woo. Right? But there came a point where I was like, this is ridiculous. And so I started I remember that first time where I was like, no, I'm $45 an hour. I remember the shift for me was I would go down to, Kinko's or something and saw that they were charging, $65, and I was way better than them. So finally, I remember that first time where I went to a client and said, I'm $45 an hour. I'm 75, and I just gave myself a raise. They didn't flinch. They didn't flinch because I owned it. And for you, saying I'm $50 an hour, that's powerful. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think, too, one thing that timing-wise we won't get into, but if you come the 24th, we will, is looking at coaching packages, is that ideally, you would want to work with someone for, say, 4 sessions, and then there's an incentive to, like, say, if your hourly rate's $100 an hour, but they book you in 4 sessions, then it's $300 or something, where there's an incentive to book you for more time because that serves them, and it's a higher price point for you. It's a win-win. But I think, most importantly, I think that's huge for you just to have made a decision, draw a line in the sand, this is what my rate is, and it can always go up. I would prefer, but it's, again, your choice not for it to come down, just because, again, your master level of what you're teaching people, and again, it's an exchange of that value. Now, have there ever been a time where I've coached someone for free? No. But have I ever coached someone on trade? Yes. Very rare. I don't very rarely do that, but it's if indeed there's an exchange of value. But I don't coach for free solely for the fact because I want them to have follow through and they have to have skin in the game. So for some level of that. So have there ever been times where I've reduced my fees for someone that was really super committed, passionate, whatnot? Yes. But that's a heart-based decision, and it's a rare one. Just because most people, it's just like Gerald used the example, if you had to find 10 grand for your kid, you would find it. You would sell stuff. You'd make it happen. And I've watched people when, again, I watched a lot of people in really challenging circumstances create income, is that when someone wants something badly enough, they'll make it happen. I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Good job.
Thanks.
Really good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is that valuable for all of you, though, to realize that? So we're going to touch literally, just to honor myself, is we're at 8:30. I have to rest my voice and rest my body. So I'd love to stay here another hour and actually go through that 5 gates entire model. I won't. I've offered you a killer still of a deal to come for like $48 to the February 24th event if you want it in detail. But let's highlight a few little things related to skill. When it comes to skill, is I want you to take on a new thought process with sales, is that you're going to focus on diagnose, then prescribe. So whatever it is that you're selling is you're wanting to think in terms of almost like you're a doctor of selling. And at some level, you're all physicians. You're providing solutions to people's challenges. And so seeing yourself with that value, and thank you for your willingness to be, I know I just called on you, you didn't volunteer that, but
I appreciate your help. I appreciate it.
Your willingness to share that because we can all relate to it. But it's seeing, you're diagnosing and looking. People, again, buy emotionally and they decide logically. Pain is a stronger motivator than pleasure, right? But they're both powerful, so you utilize both. But when it comes to a skill, you want to be thinking about asking a few questions related to, just seeking to understand, right? Understanding what their particular needs are. And so that could be things like, like if you're selling something health related, several of you in this room are, is that I would ask questions like, well, tell me, give me an idea overall, like, how are you feeling? What's your health like right now? What's your biggest health concern or challenge? Now, if you receive people that have already, they may say, I feel really great, I feel pretty good, and feel pretty fine, then I want you to ask this question, and that question is, what would you like to experience more of with your health or your energy? Because sometimes people are on it, and the people that may be your target market are people willing to invest in their health. They may already be thin, they may already be in shape, they may already be feeling pretty dang good. But for all of us, just like all of you being in this room, even though I know you're already successful at varying degrees, is that there's a next level for you. So asking the question, what do you want to experience more of, right? It's one of my favorite questions. I love to ask it in lots of different ways. But I'm going to ask for some guidance of like, okay, so tell me, like what's one of your biggest needs? It's just coming up with your core questions where you're diagnosing first what their issues are, what their dreams are, their commitment to changing it, and that what you provide is the solution. Now, all of that comes from their mouth.
What did you say before dream?
Pain, dreams, commitment, solution. That's 4 of the 5 gates. Right? Gate 1 is pain, gate 2 is dreams, gate 3 is gap, gate 4 is commitment, gate 5 is solution. Now, that isn't, I'm just trying to help you get a little taste for, that experience, but is asking first, tell me what's some of your biggest need? So someone want to role play with me and we'll just model this out so you can see it live? You want to go? Okay. So tell me, Andrea, what's your biggest need right now in your business? Yes, thank you.
I need more clients.
Okay, so tell me about that.
I just need to meet more people so that I
Okay.
can help them and share with them what I can do for them, how I can help them.
Okay. So, and tell me about the clients or the people you're already meeting. What's happening in those interactions?
Powerful transformation with healing and awakening to their soul purpose and finding out what they want to do in their lives.
Okay. So why do you want to have more clients?
I want to create more money and help more people.
Okay. How much more money? How much more money? Does that sound right? How much more money do you want to make, and how many clients do you want?
I want to create as much. I want to create thousands of dollars, but I really want to spread healing wherever I go. So I want to be able to just share what I have more than create the money, but I want to be able to, I'm sorry, I'm not answering your question. I want to create millions of dollars by helping people heal.
Do you really believe that?
Yes.
But do you believe that you really want to make millions of dollars?
Yeah, because I can help more people.
Okay. So how long has making money been an issue for you?
A long time.
Okay. And how does that affect you?
It makes me want to learn the skills that I need to make the money.
Mm-hmm. How does it affect you at home?
I'm always like wanting.
Mm-hmm. What does
To
that do
create
for
money.
your stress level?
It's stressful.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it costs you to be in a position where you don't feel like you're making enough money?
All my energy goes, how can I make money?
Mm-hmm. And how does that feel?
It feels exhausting.
Okay. So what would you like to experience more of?
Money coming to me.
Okay.
Clients coming to me. Me being somewhere where I can share
Okay.
what I do.
Love it. And how long have you thought about making this change?
Probably 10 years.
Okay. And what's held you back from making those changes already in that 10 years?
The healing work. I needed to heal. I needed to break free of my belief systems of lack and what I could create.
Okay. So how serious are you about creating a thriving business that has consistent income?
I am powerfully committed and ready to go right now.
What tells you that?
I just have a place for it. I have a purpose, and I'm ready. I want to do it, and I know that what I can give, people need.
Okay. So just notice I'm going to step back from her again energetically. I just stepped back from her once. I'm going to step back from her again in my question. Okay, but recognize that making these changes isn't, I want you to capture this. Realize that making these changes in your business, you would say in your health, is going to be uncomfortable. It's new territory. So as you and I work together with your health, with your business, that recognize you're going to feel uncomfortable some of the time. It's new territory.
I'm game for that. That's all about what I love to create is change.
So you feel comfortable to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
Okay.
I've gotten to that point. It wasn't easy.
So tell me, I'm now in Gate 5, solution. I've just moved through commitment. Gate 5 is solution, and I need it to come from whose mouth? So I'm not ever going to sell me. So you tell me, what is it that you perceive a coach would bring to your life you don't already possess doing this on your own?
Guidance and commitment and accountability.
Have you ever worked with a coach before?
Not spent money with a coach.
Haven't made an investment yet?
Right.
How do you feel about doing that now?
I am excited.
Okay. So tell me this, what draws you to me? There's lots of coaches you could hire. Why do you want to hire me?
Number one, I feel inspired to. Number two, you have what I need.
And what's that?
The marketing skills, the sales skills that I don't have.
So do you think you're at a point you're going to do the work?
I know I am.
Okay. You sound pretty confident to me.
I am.
Good.
When do you want to get together?
Give her a hand. That's good stuff. Right. And that is a very fast version. 5 gates is we went from pain, right? Tell me about what's wrong and out and missing in your business. What do you want to experience more of is dreams. Gate 2. Gate 3, this is the highest level Passover I've ever done of my 5 gates. I'm almost feeling like that child. I'm like, oh my goodness, you need more. The gap between, a great gap question is, how long has this been an issue for you? How long have you struggled with the fatigue? How long have you thought about changing your life or your business or your goals or whatever? The how long question is one of my favorite. It's so juicy. You know, how long have you thought or felt this way, right? How long has this been out of balance for you as you work with your coaching clients? Same thing, you sell homeschool. How long have you thought about creating that environment for your kids, right? And so forth. That's the Gate 3, a gap. Gate 4 is commitment. Like I'm all pushing back to, well, are you committed to doing this? Yes. What tells you that? So you watch me take a step back. See, what I love about the 5 gates and that you'll learn on the 24th is that in that space where most times in sales you're seeing it like that they're always like trying to be like razzmatazzy and like pursue them energetically. Energetically, you're going to pursue me. I have a solution that you want. And I'm just going to ask questions. And not out of a, hey, let me manipulate you way. It's just that if it comes from her mouth, where's her commitment level? If it comes from my mouth, like, you know what, Lynette, I really think you need to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. That's my opinion. If it comes from your mouth, it's gospel. It's like, oh, that's my idea, right? And that's my choice versus you being the one that's trying to convince and push. And so it's just stepping back. And then the Gate 5 is the solution, which is, you know, whatever it is that you're selling, you know, again, health or coaching or so forth is, you know, here's your classic solution question. How do you see this making a difference? Helping people clean their homes. How do you see this making a difference for you and your time and your energy? Well, gosh, it would do this, it would do this, it would do that. I want you to write that question down. How do you see this making a difference for you? It's a great question that all of you can adapt at some level. Or what do you perceive, like I asked her, what do you perceive a coach is going to bring to your life you don't have doing this on your own? Because she can keep doing it on her own. She's done it for 10 years. So what do you perceive? And she's telling herself, logically, here's the solution. Because it's critical, again, where people buy emotionally, the first 3 gates are emotion-based. Last 2 gates are logic. You got to have both, because when people's emotions come down, and they will, and they go, well, wait, why did I buy this again? Why did I sign up for doTERRA? Why did I buy that new car? Why am I buying this? Why am I hiring that coach? They have to process both logically, emotionally and logically. You have to have both, but to have it come from her mouth of, why do you see that this is the solution? I didn't used to always ask the question, why are you drawn to me? That's even again, like it took me about 6 months in that personal coaching cell to really master what I just went through in about 15 minutes. But now, and even 10 years later, still, it's like this awareness and this aha of just totally being in this place. Again, when like I had a coach teach me once, years ago, said, I want you to see as if everything that what you're selling is a gift. And you're just giving the gift all the time. Now, some people are going to take the gift, run with it, open it up, love it. Some aren't. Some are going to want to take it back, want to exchange it. They don't care for it. You stay anchored in the space that you're just offering a gift. Because again, if you had the cure to cancer, you'd have no problem sharing that gift openly. Having that same belief level in yourself for what you're offering. You're offering incredible value, all of you. Incredible value. There are certain things, there's not another person on this planet that is like you. And even if there are other coaches or other folks doing your exact thing, guess what? You do your thing only in your way, that for some people, you're the only way they would see that answer. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's this awareness. You give the gift, you stay solid, but you just ask good questions and letting them discover from their mouth and their resolve, yeah, here's why I don't like this. It's not fun. It's not good. I don't like it. Here's what I want different. Yeah, I'm ready to change it. Okay, cool. And here's why I see that this is the solution. And they sell themselves. I mean, isn't that the kind of process you can get behind? Because doesn't that take the pressure off? It did for me. I don't ever have to be like, hey, everybody, buy now. It's free steak knives, kind of thing. Now it's just like, hey, everybody, buy now. Free CD. You get with it, right, kind of thing. And so you have your steak knives, you get free audio content, you choose, right, whatever. But it's just this energy where it's enjoyable because you're a servant. You're just sharing and serving. Now, some of you already get the servant message, but your issue is charging for it. And that's, again, back to, oh, is that okay? But you make a decision. What's your hourly rate? Okay, but what are you going to do? What feels like a good starting point? 75. Decision's made. Congratulations. You now have a rate. Doesn't that feel good? Okay? Okay? But it's a lot higher than what you're getting paid now, right? And it's a new path. I understand that, because you go from like one path where you've fine-tuned your skill at such a level and you're paid for that level, and you're like, now I'm kind of on this new path. It's okay. But it's critical that there is an exchange of value for what you're bringing to these people's lives. I hope this is helpful. I know it's just barely scratching the surface and in that space of, so much skill. Yes?
I have a question about you stepping back energetically.
Yeah.
Is that to help them move towards you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean with your screen? It's just energetic.
Oh, I just mean that symbolically, energetically, not necessarily physically. Yeah, thank you for that. That was a good clarification. She's like, I got to have a lot of room when I'm doing my sales conversation. Right? Like, who's that? Yeah, you sit over here. But just absolutely energetically, because it also removes, like, as I'm walking her through that, and that's literally, I just modeled for you what, it's not to a T, but, like a coach consult that I would do, is that way, did you feel like I was pressuring, at any point, did any of you feel like I pressured her to buy anything? Mm-mm. Didn't even come up. It was just, yeah, I'm ready, and here's why I'm ready, and I'm just doing the asking. But when I talk about stepping back energetically, it's what I call a pushback, right? Is how you build muscle in the gym is through resolve. And so for her to have a stronger resolve, I'm just going to push back. She's saying, oh, I want to change and have all these things. Really, why? Little pushback, and let her ground herself even more in her resolve of, so what do you sell? What will you be selling? Coaching. So with coaching, it's like, rather than, here's why you need a coach, it's, tell me why you're drawn to coaching. So think about everything. Here's the fastest way to say this. Everything you want to say think about how could I ask that in a question. So rather than say, you really need to change, it's why do you feel like you really need to change? Or why does this matter so much to you? Is that you ask it and it's just, but you're giving, and gates, especially gates 4 and 5, you want to give a little bit of pushback where they're resolving in their own mind and out of their own mouth, here's why I need to hire you. Same thing when it comes to objections. Just a little quick thing is objections when you get an objection. Whose objection is it? Who can solve it? Mm-hmm. So we stay in asking questions rather than, so someone give me an objection.
Too expensive, but yeah, it costs too much money.
Yeah, too much money. Okay, so you want to role play that out with me? Too much money. So I've just said, okay, here's coaching, and it's X amount of dollars. And you say, oh, it's too much money. So that's what you've just said to me. Oh, sorry.
Alaska can't hear you.
Today's
Sorry,
been a long
Alaska.
week. Sorry.
So, okay, well, Catherine, so tell me how...
Well, specifically, we were both talking about people are like, oh, essential oils are too much money. But are we talking about coaching?
Yeah, let's just use that
Okay,
example.
perfect.
Or we could do, I mean, we can do either one. We can plug it in. It goes the same way. So let's just, for sake of time, coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Right.
Okay.
So we'll go with coaching. So and we've gone through this whole process. So you're emotionally engaged and logically processed, and now we're talking about fee.
Okay.
And you're like, gosh, I really want to do this, but it's just too much. I just think it's too much money. So say that to me.
Tiffany, I see the value, but really it's too much money.
Okay. So if you're open to that, can we talk about it?
Absolutely.
So talk to me about too much money. How long has too much money been a challenge or a roadblock for you from having what you want?
Probably all my life.
What does that feel like, to always have money be this big issue?
It's frustrating.
Yeah. How does that show up in your life, that kind of level of money? I mean, is money something that you're always amped about and fearful about?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't have enough, so I'm not enough.
Oh. And how does that feel?
Crappy.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think it's costing you to continue to have that experience with money over and over again?
Growth, because I could be coaching with you, but it's expensive and I don't have the money. That's frustrating because I see that I'm being held back. I could do so much more if I had that money.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, if you could solve that issue and heal that money block and that belief issue, what would that do for your life and your results?
It would give me freedom.
Mm-hmm. And what's that worth to you?
$395, $95. No, that's priceless.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of, helping support you to move forward and so forth and all of that, how do you see that you could create the income to pay for the coaching?
I think that's why I need you, so that you can give me direction, so I can be creating money to then pay you.
Mm-hmm. So if it could pay for itself, then it's a worthwhile investment.
And then some, absolutely.
Right. Okay. But you tell me, because this has to be your decision, are you at a point where you've made a decision to let's really get over and heal this money issue that you've been struggling with?
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
Mm-hmm. Are you willing to do whatever it takes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Whatever it takes.
Yes.
So you tell me, is this something that you want to move forward with?
Yeah.
Even though you're not sure how and where you're going to create and find the money?
I'm just going to create it.
Okay. So when do you want to start?
Yesterday.
Love it. And so, again, sometimes it doesn't mean that they always like, okay, well, let's move on. But most people have access to a few $100s, a few $1,000s. They can get the access if they absolutely need it and want it, right? So for whatever it is that you're selling, it's just, are they emotionally invested, right? And so it's just asking. But the point is whether she, and sometimes they move forward, sometimes they don't. But it's the issue is that you get them to walk through and even have an aha about, well, gosh, this money block, how long has money been holding you back or stopping you from having what you really want? And then it's like a whole nother level of a breakthrough that they get to have with you because you're just staying rooted and asking questions. But for some of you, you hear that someone tells you, just be candid. How do you currently respond when someone says, oh, I think it's too expensive or I can't afford it? Capture for a moment. Go in your mind. How do you more often than not handle when people tell you, I can't afford it?
Oh, that's okay. Or never mind, or drop the issue, or, oh yeah, I've been there too. Or
Drop the price or whatever, right? And do this, do that, and whatnot. But you usually back away or drop the price or just leave it. Rather than, it's like, oh, okay. I just want you to see that it's just like, oh, one more cool thing we got to talk about. You make the decision. Again, you're the leader in the conversation, the confidence of like, okay, well, let's just talk about that. How long has that been a challenge? Where else does it show up in your life? What's that costing you? It's all just asking and knowing about, probably there's about 10 questions I just recycle, throughout my experience that you can use at any given point. How long has that been an issue? How does that make you feel? But more importantly, are you at a point you're ready to solve it? And whether with me or without me, but are you really ready to solve it? I want to have a breakthrough with them, whether they hire me or not, is that, okay, let's have a breakthrough about, are you ready to solve it? Because it isn't the first time it's come up, and if they don't solve it, it sure as heck won't be the last.
And what's your then closing remarks to them when they say, no, I can't do it?
If they say, no, I just can't do it, which that rarely happens because it's in the space of that conversation and exploring and looking at solutions. And for me personally, like I have Success Circle that's $20 a month. I have a low entry, really, that they can get some serious value from. Then I have, like a live event that's a little more of an investment. And then it's, private coaching or VIP. So I have options. If they don't want any of those options, which is, again, I don't have the frame because they at least always get me in the Success Circle community because then I can be plugged in, get all those resources. But if nothing, always it's like you're in the people business and I'm there to serve them. I'm not going to, if your question, of course we're going to handle it with kindness, right, and respect. But I always like to just leave it with the piece of, okay, well, if and when in the future you're ready to change this, give me a call or let me know. Huh? Right. Exactly. And see, when you've had the kind of conversation I've just walked you through, those are pretty meaty questions. Do you get the feel of that? Even though I went over them of like a 30,000-foot high of like, zoo. If we could really just sit into each of those questions, how often do people really ask you? How often do people stroll up to you and say, tell me about where you're out of balance? Huh. Tell me about what you really want your life to be like. What would that feel like? Tell me.
It would depend on the person that was
I know.
wanting to know that.
But even just being asked that,
Yes, that doesn't happen.
it's so rare. So just being willing to ask people good questions like, I really care about what you're going to say, and I'm asking questions that are beyond like, oh, how you doing? Great, cool, whatever. You're asking questions about them, their life, how they feel, what's up for them. That's a huge gift. And people buy from people they know, like, and trust. If I stroll up to you and I invest in you and seek to understand, what are your big health needs, challenges? How long has that been an issue for you? How long have you had the headaches or the anxiety or the whatever your thing is? And you really seek to understand me, that's a huge gift. Huge gift. But you're also going to stir up some stuff where it's like, okay, well, if and when in the future you're ready, well, where are you going, that's what I would do sometimes if people were like kind of if they're flip-flopping with me. of like, well, I do, but I don't know, can I do it? It's just like, you know what, if and when in the future you're really ready to claim that life and go create it, give me a call. And I just start to walk away. Oh, if they're serious, like, whoa, okay, I'm going to get on board, right? They're looking for a leader. At some level, as people evaluate you and what you're selling and what you offer, they're thinking and asking, is this the answer I'm looking for? They may not be saying that consciously, but subconsciously, that's what they're exploring. Is this the answer I'm looking for? And it's a huge investment to ask people those types of meaty, good questions. It's a huge deposit. Oh my gosh. Now be prepared. Some people are going to want to chat your ear off for like 3 hours, and you're like, whoa, hold on, kind of thing. And here's my rate. Yeah, in the space of that, right? First hour is free, after that is this, right, kind of thing. So hopefully this has been helpful. Again, I know it's been a very high level. It's a mindset piece. You're worth it. You're valued. Decide if, same thing for all of you if this applies. If you have an hourly rate type situation, please make up your mind before you go to sleep. What's your hourly rate? You can always change it. But start making some decisions and progress towards creating that.
People buy from
people they know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. Here's one last little nugget on sales that was a huge eye-opener for me. It's what I call the law of 4 interactions, is that 60% of all business takes place after a 4th interaction. This is why when we talk about timing is critical, or like I teach often this law of the harvest, most people buy or purchase after a 4th interaction with you. And so there has to be some level of trust. Now, that's not always the case, but 60%. This is out of Notre Dame. Herbert True is the gentleman's name, if you're interested, that did this research. So interestingly enough, though, is that all sell is looking at the study, 44% of salespeople quit, and you're all solutions providers, so we'll just call it that, same thing. They quit after a first contact, right? Because see what happens, you send an email or leave a voicemail, call someone, and they don't call you back. What do you assume? Not interested. I don't want to be salesy and pushy, so forget it. I'll just leave it be. 24% quit after a second contact. Another 14% quit after a third, and another 12% quit after a fourth. 94% of all solutions providers quit after a 4th contact. What are the 6% doing? Following through consistently. Now, I agree. Yeah, you don't just consistently keep calling them every day. Hey, are you ready to buy now? Hey, you ready to buy now? That's not what we're talking about. But just recognizing that people, no matter what you sell, you're in the people business. It's relational. It's relationships. You don't go to coffee and then tend to get married right away. It doesn't work that way. But I know I'm not going there. I always have a BYU little, unless you go to the Y, right? Because I'm a U girl. But anyway, ha. But then they're like, well, coffee, BYU, how does that? What? I don't get it. I don't know. It's a little late for it. So anyway, the point being is 4 interactions. But what I hope you hear from that is that it's a timing game, right? Is you're building a relationship, and especially the higher your price point. Like many of you would opt into my Success Circle at $20 a month and at least try it out for a month, or even $150 for a year, right? Because that's pretty low entry, low level risk, right? And then as you get to know you, they're like, oh, okay, absolutely, I want more, and I want more of this, I want more of that. But the higher your price point, or the longer term the contract, or the bigger the purchase can be, is people are, having that experience of know, like, and trust really becomes important. And so, but just giving yourselves going, okay, 4 interactions. Now some are going to buy after the first, some are going to buy after the second or third, some after the 10th. But when you know that, you can quit telling yourself that story that, oh, they're not interested, or, oh, you make all these assumptions. If you're going to assume in your favor at least, okay? Most often my business goes to the most persistent person. Just because my life moves so fast, it's so busy and full, that a lot of times it has nothing to do. And you can send me an email or leave me a voicemail, and if I don't respond, it's often just because it's like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing this. If someone's tried to call me today and I'm not getting back to them probably till next week, at least at earliest. But guess what? Between now and next week, a lot's going to come up and happen in my life, so it's probably it could fall by the wayside. So it's the persistent, right? So what I love to teach is persistence trumps talent. All the time. You see it in sports stories. Gerald was talking about Thurl Bailey spoke at the Hub, a networking group that I co-host. He spoke there in December, and he talked about he got cut from the basketball team twice in junior high, 7th and 8th grade, even told from a voice of authority as coach, not meanly but kindly, I just don't think basketball is your thing. Go stay in the choir, do the student government. 9th grade year comes around, but he has this burning desire, and he goes, I'm going for it. And that coach then could see in him, this kid means it. And you can shape a lot of talent, if someone doesn't have the raw talent, but with that kind of persistence. So you got to treat your dreams and your goals and your business the same way, as persistence will always trump talent. See it in sports, right? Rudy, it's my favorite movie. I watch it every fall. Isn't that such a great movie? That's also why I cheer for the Irish, is from that movie. I'm like, yay, go Rudy, go Irish, and the Utes and the Irish. But it's just being aware that, okay, it's that piece that this takes some time, so be kind with yourself. The way that I teach this and the way that it works for me now isn't something that I had 12 years ago. I mean, it took time to really master that skill. And then it's both a mindset where your confidence is at and your belief system, like we've been talking about heavily today, and it's a skill level of how you navigate it. But being aware that you're planting seeds and nourishing relationships with people takes some time for those to come to fruition. So be patient with the process and be patient with you. Fair enough? All right. Yeah.
So you have a low entry level.
Uh-huh.
Should we all have a low entry level and different levels?
My 2 cents is yes. You want to have a low, mid, and high tier type thing. I mean, it's kind of like what Gerald was talking about. You've got a free level and then a 47 to 97 type level and then up and above and so forth.
And the answer is ultimately, it totally depends.
I mean,
right?
ultimately, it's sure.
I mean, like, for me, if I were to create all 3 programs at the same time, it would have been insane, right? You build one program, you sell it. And then when that's in motion, just like this space shuttle, as soon as it's in orbit, you've got that system down, you've got that process down, then you add the next piece. So ultimately, long term, absolutely. But right now, no, just focus on what is that first one. What's the low-hanging fruit that you can focus your energy on, start bringing in clients, start generating some revenue, start making sure your kids have clothes on their back. What's that first level, and then you build from there.
That's a great point. Yeah, because when I just started, it was like coaching, and that was it. And now there's products, and now there's a group program, and now there's workshops. But when I started 2 years ago, it was one thing.
Well, I just have products.
Good.
But maybe I should.
But you could do that, absolutely, as a higher tier type thing and so forth. And you can also have different tiers of products. Like I have a sales mastery kit. It's 4 discs, and it's $97. That's pretty low, that level of product. The product I'm working on now will be around $300. So it's more of a mid-tier type level in terms of product for my world. Good stuff. You guys, you've got to get some good rest. I'm going to invite you again. Remember, you have an accountability assignment, too, to honor. And even though, here's where it comes into play, where we honor our word, is that whatever commitment you made, I'm going to highly encourage you for your own confidence and esteem and declaration, even when we're tired and we're worn out. Whatever that small thing, hopefully you committed to something small that you go home and complete. Get some great rest, and we'll see you at 8:30 for a great meditation in the morning.
8:30 in the morning. How many of you found this extraordinarily valuable tonight? Give Tiffany a big round of applause. I love how for Tiffany this is just scratching the surface, but she went deep tonight, so I hope you really appreciate the value. So once again, follow through your commitment, touch base with your accountability buddy, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30. Before you leave, make sure you give away 10 gifts in the form of hugs, and we will see you tomorrow morning. 10 hugs.